Hi, BookTube. It's Peg. I'm back at the History Shelf. I am here with Book Haul Part 2, as it were. I did one on a Book Haul Friday, and this is my second part. The video from Friday, I documented some books that I picked up from bookoutlet.com, and now this one will show about 10 books I got from Hamilton Book, which is another bargain book reseller or retailer that I check out online quite a bit just to see what new releases have dropped into the bargain range, which I consider to be anywhere from $6.95 to $8.95 hardcover. So this one is a mix. It's about there's a few history, there's some nonfiction, and then there's some fun stuff, mystery related, which ties in well with March Mystery Madness. So let's just dive in. I was able to get this in paperback. I was going to get it in hardcover, but I didn't pull the trigger fast enough on ordering it, and then the hardcover ones were out of stock. But this is by Rosemary Sullivan. I've been wanting to get this for my, I guess you'd call it my Stalin collection, but this is Stalin's Daughter, The Extraordinary and Tumultuous Life of Svetlana Alliluyeva. Let me try that again. Alliluyeva. You try pronouncing that right there. Alliluyeva. Thank you. That is how it is pronounced. This was a PEN Literary Award finalist and a National Book Critics Circle Award finalist. I've heard a lot about it. Here's the author on the back. I've always been intrigued by Stalin's Daughter. Svetlana was his favorite until she fell out of favor with him. She started dating a boy or a man he did not approve of. It sounds like a very similar father-daughter story for many people probably, but let me just read this to you real quick. Born in 1926, Svetlana Alliluyeva grew up inside the Kremlin as her father's power soared along with that of the Soviet Union. 85 years later, she died alone in rural Wisconsin. Revealed here for the first time, the many lives of Joseph Stalin's daughter form a riveting portrait of a woman who fled halfway around the world to escape her birthright. Svetlana was protected from the horrors that her father inflicted upon Soviet citizens, but she was not immune to tragedy. Her mother committed suicide, and her father's purges claimed the lives of aunts and uncles. He also exiled her lover to Siberia. After her father's death, she defected to the United States at the height of the Cold War, leaving behind 2 children. For a time, Frank Lloyd Wright's Taliesin community, overseen by his controversial third wife, was a second family. Svetlana married a member, and they had a child. But Wright's widow manipulated their friendship for financial gain, and the marriage disintegrated. Drawing on FBI, CIA, and Russian state archives, and with the cooperation of Svetlana's daughter, Rosemary Sullivan has created this masterful biography that places Svetlana in a broader context without losing sight of her powerful human story that reveals the heart of a brutal world and offers an unprecedented look at its mastermind. So that's looks like it's going to be some riveting reading here. Some pictures throughout. Yes, Svetlana was to be a child of Stalin. It was her, shall I say, it was her gift to be born a female. Most times you can't say that. But Stalin really did not like his sons. He treated them horribly. This is a picture of Vasily. I think one of them, he basically, he killed himself with drink, but he went to the front. His father was always berating him. He had an opportunity to, he was captured by the Germans, and I'm trying to remember if that was Vasily or Yakov. The gist of it is that the Germans knew they had Stalin's son, and they said, we will exchange him for this high-ranking German prisoner that you have. And Stalin said no. Well, I guess in a way he's like, hey, all my soldiers are the same. But he, and I think that, well, his son never forgot that, but they all lived in extreme terror of him. But Svetlana was very lucky in a way. He was extremely tender with her, sheltered her from a lot of the horrors, and didn't have that until she started, she was, after the mother committed suicide, and then she um, that hit adolescence, and then started kind of dating some of the officers around her, and then he started getting to be, he was not as nice to her, but definitely an interesting family dynamic going on there. Okay, so next book I got. Sometimes with Hamilton book, let me just break this down for you real quick. If you're looking for a place like Book Outlet, I have tried to look for some more arcane titles or authors. They won't have them. But Hamilton book is really good about, sometimes they just have some overstock from university presses. So they'll have some scholarly works and academic works that you stumble upon and you're like, how is this in here? And how is it $5.95 for a hardcover? That is a major scholarly work or whatever. You will find those types of surprises at hamiltonbook.com. That's why I like to visit it every now and then. I had never heard of this book before, but this is a University of Pennsylvania Press book, and it looked really interesting. Religion, also tied with early American history. And this is The First Prejudice, Religious Tolerance and Intolerance in Early America, edited by Chris Benecke and Christopher S. Grenda. I really like the cover. Guess how much this was? It's paperback, but $2.95. $2.95, and this is a relatively recent work. Oh, okay, it's about 9 years old, 2011. But this one, in many ways, religion was the United States' first prejudice, both an early source of bigotry and the object of the first sustained efforts to limit its effects. Spanning more than 2 centuries across colonial British America and the United States, The First Prejudice offers a groundbreaking exploration of the early history of persecution and toleration. The 12 essays in this volume were composed by leading historians with an eye to the larger significance of religious tolerance and intolerance. Let's see. Individual chapters examine the prosecution of religious crimes, the biblical sources of tolerance and intolerance, the British imperial context of toleration, the bounds of Native American spiritual independence, the nuances of anti-Semitism and anti-Catholicism, the resilience of African American faith, and the challenges confronted by skeptics and free thinkers. So this one kind of covers it all. So, yeah, $2.95, and again, just another University Press book that came up in my search, and you can filter your search, and I think I was just searching by history. American history, or sometimes you can, the filters are amazing. And there it was. So I do enjoy Hamilton book for that. And here's another example of that. The other book I got. This is a Johns Hopkins book, Johns Hopkins University Press. This is The Culture of Classicism, Ancient Greece and Rome in American Intellectual Life, 1780 to 1910, by Caroline Winterer. So sometimes when I find these books, I'll immediately go check them out on Amazon and see what the going price is. And yeah, this one's expensive. But on Hamilton, it was only $10, like $9.95. And it's a slim volume, but this is a scholarly work. Let me just read this to you. Debates continue to rage about whether students in American universities should be required to master a common core of knowledge. This book, The Culture of Classicism, traces the emergence of a classical model that became standard in the American curriculum in the 19th century and remains at the core of contemporary controversies in the humanities. Through an examination of university curricula and the writings of classical scholars, Caroline Winterer shows how classics was transformed from a narrow, language-based subject to a broader study of civilization. Building on German Romantic ideals of self-formation, 19th century classicists argued that Americans could avoid modernity's pitfalls of materialism and industrialization by immersing themselves in the spirit of classical antiquity. classicists pursued this vision by advocating a new pedagogy that shifted the emphasis from Latin to Greek texts. In so doing, they helped remake the American model of the educated person, moving from the gentlemanly ideal of the 18th century to the modern conception of a cultured liberal citizen. Winterer argues that we cannot understand the rise of the American university or modern notions of selfhood and knowledge without an appreciation for the role of classicism in their creation. This book provides new insights into our understanding of 19th century American intellectual life. So this sounded very intriguing. Again, John Hopkins University Press book. And I think it's like normally $30 or $40, and I got it for $9.95. So, yeah, I was really happy about that. Again, you know, you can find a lot of popular stuff at Hamilton Book, but you can also find a lot of these just needles in it, not needles, like hidden gems, you know, just sitting there, just waiting to be plucked up. So I'm trying to group these together, and then I'll save the fun ones for last. Oh, here we go. So here's another example. I was filtering my search through literature, like literature classics or whatever. And this is a nice, differently sized book, but this is a fully annotated edition of Henry Thoreau's Essays, in this big and a very wide book. This is paperback. This is Yale. Again, it's a Yale University press edition. What is fabulous about this book is look at all the room, and this is a book you can write in. Look at this. So these are his essays, and then you have the footnotes or the annotations next to it. And let's see, we've got all of his classic essays in here. It's a beautiful edition, you know, with these leaves. Makes you think on Walden Pond. Some of the essays in here that we have are Natural History of Massachusetts, A Winter Walk. Let's see. Oh, yes, this is the one I'm very excited for. Thomas Carlyle and His Works, which hopefully will help me maybe to understand his works better, because Sartor Resartus is still a thorn in my side right now. But and these annotations, I think, will really much help me. When I saw that this essay was one of them, I was like, I'm going to get this book. It was $7.95. It's beautiful. Again, if you have no problem just wanting to, in pencil, make some notes in your copy, this is the perfect book for that. But, yeah, he's got a Thomas Carlyle. He has an essay on slavery in Massachusetts. Of course, the famous Civil Disobedience. Life Without Principle. Let's see, John Brown Essays, which I will love just for the pre-Civil War context of that. So, and this is a very nice contents page with his face and profile there, or half his face. Yeah, so $7.95, and I said I will take it. So this also looked really interesting. I haven't heard too much about this. There was a certain type of intellectual club in, I think, 19th century New York City. I think it was 19th century. It's called the Friendly Club. And, well, let me just show you the book first. This is Republic of Intellect, The Friendly Club of New York City in the Making of American Literature by Brian Waterman. Again, another university press book, another Johns Hopkins University Press. I think this was on sale for $4.95, hardcover. A beautiful hardcover. You just take off the dust jacket. Pristine condition. They're all new. All of the books that they sell are new. They might have a remainder mark or something, but well, this one even doesn't. Nope. Let's see. So in this, oh, okay, well, 1790s. So on the cusp of the 19th century. In the 1790s, a single conversational circle, the Friendly Club, united New York City's most ambitious young writers. And in Republic of Intellect, Brian Waterman uses an innovative blend of literary criticism and historical narrative to recreate the club's intellectual culture. The story of the Friendly Club reveals the mutually informing conditions of authorship, literary association, print culture, and production of knowledge in a specific time and place. The tumultuous, tenuous world of post-revolutionary New York City. More than any similar group in the early American Republic, the Friendly Club occupied a crossroads, geographical, professional, and otherwise, of American literary and intellectual culture. Waterman argues that the relationships among club's members' novels, plays, poetry, diaries, legal writing, and medical essays lead to important first examples of a distinctively American literature and also illuminate the local, national, and transatlantic circuits of influence and information that club members called, quote, the Republic of Intellect. He addresses topics ranging from political conspiracy in the Gothic novels of Charles Brockden Brown to the opening of William Dunlap's Park Theater, from early American debates on gendered conversation to the publication of the first American medical journal. Voluntary association and print culture helped these young New Yorkers, Waterman concludes, to produce a broader and more diverse post-revolutionary public sphere than scholars have yet recognized. Oh, and this is part of their New Studies in American Intellectual and Cultural History series. So that sounds fascinating. I love learning something new. I'd never heard of the Friendly Club. It's about 240 pages. So, all right, so I think that's well, I've got a couple more things, but they're not too bad. Oh, so I know you guys, if you do follow my channel and you watch, hopefully, my videos, most of my videos, I had a video recently on my Osprey collection. I'm building my military history collection of Osprey titles, which are those little slim volumes. And Hamilton Book had this one, which is part of the combat series, really marked down. And I've added now to my combat series, which is French Guardsmen versus Russian Jaeger, 1812 to 1814, by Lawrence Spring. So this is actually number 4 in the series, so very cool. It was super cheap. We'll have a breakdown again of the each side, their kit, their military kits, their uniforms. Love it. I love the illustrations and artwork. I think this one covers, obviously, the Napoleonic Wars. No, maybe not the Napoleonic Wars, but, well, yeah. We've got the Russians here. We've got the Battle of, is this Leipzig? We've got the maps. If you're into that sort of stuff, these are fun books. I love them. All right. I'll save the mystery stuff for last. I got 4 more books. Okay, so this one I got because, I'm sorry, but this woman is a hoot to me. I know she's been very controversial in the past. She's hard to listen to, just when she's talking. She's a very machine gun speed talker, and I've watched interviews with her, and she just kind of she's very hard to listen to, but I think she's very brilliant, especially in the realm of literature, art, and she's very independent. She doesn't give a damn what anyone. She tells you how she feels about things, and that's it. This is I'm talking about the one and the only Camille Paglia. Oh, stop it. This is Free Women, Free Men, Sex.
You're going to say friendly Leibowitz, and I was going to be like, yeah.
Sex, Gender, and Feminism. Camille Paglia. I'll just leave that here. These are her. Well, she wrote the great book back in the 90s that I liked, which was Sexual Personae, or Personae. I mean, that one was, no one had ever done that before. Let me just read this to you.
You don't have to, it's okay.
From the fiery intellectual provocateur and one of our most fearless advocates of gender equality, a brilliant, urgent essay collection that both celebrates modern feminism and challenges us to build an alliance of strong women and strong men. Okay, ever since the release of her seminal first book, Sexual Persona, Camille Paglia has remained one of feminism's most outspoken, independent, and searingly intelligent voices. Now, for the first time, her best essays on the subject are gathered together in one concise volume. Okay, well, whether she's calling for equal opportunity for American women, years before the founding of the National Organization for Women, championing a more discerning standard of beauty that goes beyond plastic surgery's quest for eternal youth, lauding the liberating force of rock and roll, or demanding free and unfettered speech on university campuses and beyond, Paglia can always be counted on to get to the heart of matters large and small. At once illuminating, witty, and inspiring, these essays are essential reading that affirm the power of men and women and what we can accomplish together. See, that doesn't sound bad. Not at all. Picture of the author.
Because somebody else wrote it, not her.
No, she writes this stuff.
She's just a provocateur. I leave it alone.
Thank you.
Brad!
Brad, where are you?
Save us.
No. So I'm interested in this. And it was like $4.95. And so when I see that, I'm like, you know what? I'd like to get it. All right, so now on to the fun stuff. In honor of March Mystery Madness, let me just say that I've got 2 books here that are a fun little compilation of things. But I'll start off with one that's an actual mystery. Recently, I bought the first book in the Maggie Hope series that I've just been hearing everyone rave about, and by everyone, I'm talking Steve Donahue and David Murphy. But also, they're just receiving the Susan McNeil, the writer. Her series is just it's gone gangbusters, and I just read good things about these books everywhere. Now, this isn't the second in the series. So I have the first one, and I need to start reading that one. But this one I think is like the 4th or 5th. But sometimes when I see books that I know I'm probably going to read the entire series, if it's within like 5 or 6 books in the series, and I see one of them available for like $4, I'll pick it up. And that's what I did. This is a Maggie Hope mystery, The Prime Minister's Secret Agent by Susan Elia McNeil. So again, it's not the second book in the series, but I think by the time I get to this one, I should be caught up. I'll have to pick up the other 2 or check them out from the... No, I'm not checking anything out from the library. Not unless I hose everything down with antibacterial. You know what? I think that's one of the reasons why I stopped going to the library. And I just wanted to buy my books. Is because I would find I'd take a book home, with the Mylar cover, and I would actually take like a napkin and wet it down and just wipe that thing down. But today I would have to like wipe it down with antibacterial, but then there's stains on the inside. You don't know what biological what's the word I'm looking for? Detritus is hanging out in those pages. So no, I don't think I'll be going to the library. What I'll do is I'll probably just find more bargain books, read them, and then I'll just pass them along to friends who trust that I don't have cooties.
Oh, they know you do. But they're still friends.
My secret's out.
Yes. Brad.
So I picked up one in the Maggie Hope series. Okay, so these last 2 books just sounded like fun, and they sounded like they would give me ideas, or at least one will. I'll talk about that one right now, actually, because it's the bigger of the 2. This is called Books to Die For. The World's Greatest Mystery Writers on the World's Greatest Mystery Novels. Edited by John Conley and Declan Burke. I think I pronounced Declan, right? This is put up by Simon & Schuster. Gosh, just a bargain book rate, like $5 for this, right? Nice big, thick old thing. And it is. It's basically all these writers talking about their favorites. Or what they think is one of the greatest. So, like, look at this table of contents. You've got Sarah Paretsky talking about Charles Dickens' Bleak House. You have... who's this? David Peace talking about Dashiell Hammett. Carol O'Connell talking about The Hound of the Baskervilles. And then there's more. There's tons more. I mean, look at all these essays. Louise Penny talks about Josephine Tay, the franchise affair. So I just looked at this and I'm like, I am going to find so many ideas for new mysteries to read that I wasn't even aware of. And what I like is that they go back as far as they start with like the great mysteries starting from like 1841 with Edgar Allan Poe's the Dupin tales, right? And takes you up to current times. You know, and each little essay on the mystery book could only be 3 or 4 pages, maybe 6 tops. Oh, this is great. And it takes you up to 2008. Oh, they even have an article in here by Anne Perry. And Anne Perry does the Monk series, the Charlotte, and oh, I can't believe I'm just spacing on that. It's the Thomas or Pitt. I think it's the Inspector Pitt novels, and then there's the Inspector Monk novels, and then now she's starting another.
Yeah, Thomas Pitt and William Monk.
Thomas Pitt and William Monk are her 2 most famous different series of books that just have gone on forever. But she lands this book with the last essay on Mark Jimenez's The Perk, which I've never heard of before.
And she was the one who was.
She was the one. We don't.
She's a weirdo.
We're not
No,
talking
I'm just
about
saying,
Anne Perry.
I saw a documentary with her. And
I did too. I think we watched that together. It was called Interiors. She lives a very Anne Perry. We're talking about Anne Perry. She lives a very isolated life.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Many of you know who she is. I'm not gonna reveal that. Not reveal. You know. I'm kind of. I don't know how I feel about all of that. You know, it's. If you want to know who she is, you just look her up and you'll find out all about it. But anyway, she writes a lot of mysteries. People enjoy them. I tried reading one of her books, a couple of them, and I went on a binge actually on Hamilton book because they have a ton of her books marked down, and I bought a bunch of them. I still have them. I might give it another go. I read one of the Pitt novels, but I would like to read the Monk. So I think the Monk one might have a more interesting premise. It's about a man who wakes up with amnesia. He doesn't know who he is, but he does know somehow that he's a detective, and then he just goes on and does cases, and little bits of his life start to come back to him. And I think the first book in that series is The Face of a Stranger, and I think I might pick that one up soon, just to check that one out. But anyway, this looks fun. Yeah, so I gave you a description of their personal essays from the authors, and they talk about their own work as well as the book here that they're talking about that they love. And it says here, from Agatha Christie to Lee Child, from Edgar Allan Poe to P.D. James. This book brings together the cream of the mystery world for a feast of reading pleasure. A treasure trove for those new to the genre as well as for those who believe that there is nothing new left to discover. If you're interested, go to hamiltonbook.com. I think they have tons of copies of this left. I think it was... Oh, I probably have the... One moment. Get my handy-dandy little receipt here. Nope, that's the wrong one. It always figures when I... This is the one. So, Books to Die For, I told you, $4.95. And you get roughly 500 plus pages of mystery pleasure. Something like that. Okay. All right. Oh, wow, we're almost at a 30-minute video. So, next book. This is the final book, actually. This is a slim volume, but it looked kind of interesting. So this is called, and I love the cover, Murder by Candlelight. The Gruesome Crimes Behind Our Romance with the Macabre, by Michael Knox Barron. But look at that cover. This is black with the silver, well, no, it's like white. Who does this? Pegasus, I think. Let me just give you this book is no more than 230 pages. Okay. In the early 19th century, a series of murders took place in and around London that shocked the whole of England. The appalling nature of the crimes, a brutal slaying in the gambling netherworld, the slaughter of 2 entire households, and the first of the modern lust murders was magnified not only by the lurid atmosphere of an age in which candlelight gave way to gaslight, but also by the efforts of some of the keenest minds of the period to uncover the grisly details of the killings. These murders all took place against the backdrop of a London in which the splendor of the fashionable world was haunted by the squalor of the slums. Sir Walter Scott, Lord Byron, Thomas de Quincey, Thomas Carlyle, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and others were fascinated by the blood and deviltry of these crimes. In their contemplations of the most notorious murders of their time, they discerned a depth of hideousness that we have lost sight of, living in an age in which murder has been reduced to a problem of social science and skillful detective work. Interweaving these cultural vignettes with riveting criminal history, acclaimed author Michael Knox Barron paints a vivid picture of a time when homicide was thought of as the intrusion of the diabolic into ordinary life. And that is a great description. I think that's what got me. Sorry. I love taking off the dust jackets to see how. And look at the spine. It even has the little chandelier hanging there in the skull. I mean, it's beautiful. So this will be an interesting little study. Yeah, I can't wait to tell you guys what I think about this one. I think I might be starting this one real soon. So that is my, I'm going to say my last book haul from Hamilton book for a little while, for a long time, probably. Oh gosh, I cannot do a pyramid with these books. Woo! I could try, but anyway, I hope you guys found something of interest here. Let me know what you think, if you have any questions about any of them. I need to go ahead and start shelving these on my bookcase across the way. I think there might be, I do have one more thing. I have, well, in addition to my new arrivals, which sometimes happen because publishers send me some things, I'd like to show you them. I'll save those new arrivals for another video this week. But I also talk about really super impulse. This is my final, I think, my final New York Review of Book Classics. I bought like 4. Of the New York Review of Book Classics. They had a 50% off on there was like the going, this is your last chance. So, those are coming up soon. It's a little, it looks bigger than it is, really. It's not, it's just, that's what came this weekend. I've opened it, but I have not pulled them out yet. But that's for easy access for when I do make that video. But in the meantime, yeah, I hope you don't mind the longer video. There's a lot to say about all these books. They are quite fun. Hope you guys are having a great day. Yeah, happy reading, BookTube. We'll talk to you soon.